All right, for question 4, it looks like, again, it's going to be an ice table because it's telling me where I'm starting and it's telling me what the K value is, but it wants to know what everything is at equilibrium. So this is definitely going to be an ice table. So I'm going to go ahead and redraw my equation here. I have H2 and CO2 goes to H2O and CO. Please note that it's a gas, 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 and gas, so everybody counts. I don't have to leave anybody out of this equation. I got an I, I got a C, and I got an E here. And it says that I start with 2 atmospheres of each of the reactants and none of the products. So that's going to be a 2 and a 2 and a 0 and a 0 because I'm starting with 2 each of the reactants and none of the products that are there. Now, please recognize that it already gave me the K value. The K value is going to be 3.4, and my equation is going to be the pressure of the water times the pressure of the carbon monoxide divided by the pressure of the hydrogen and the pressure of the carbon dioxide. Because again, everybody counts because it's a gas. So it's products over reactants raised to their powers, ignoring solids, liquids, and solids. Now, I know where I started. I'm starting here at 2, 2, and 0, and 0, but I don't know where I ended, but I do know what the final number has to be. It has to be 3.4. So, the problem is that I don't know what any of these numbers are. But, like we said in the lecture, if you know any one of those numbers, you actually know all of those numbers. But I do know this. I do know that it can't be at equilibrium right now because there are zeros over here. And if there are any zeros, it can't be at equilibrium. You've got to fill at least a little bit into that. So I don't know how far this is going to go, but I do know that this is going to go down by some amount, and this is going to go down by the same amount, and this is going to go up by the same amount, and this is going to go up by the same amount because I've got to go over to the right a little bit to make these zeros not be zeros. And because it's a 1, a 1, and a 1, and a 1, however much I lose from each of these guys over here has to be the same that I gain over here. So now check it out. I have 2 minus x, 2 minus x, x, and x. I now have a, oopsie. I now have a value for each of these things at equilibrium. And remember, those numbers at equilibrium are the ones that get plugged in. So what do I have? I have 3.4 then is going to be equal to x squared all over 2 minus x quantity squared. Now, if you'd like to, you could do this awful quadratic thing, or if you've got one of those fancy calculators and you know how to plug this in to solve for the real root of that, go ahead. But I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do things a little bit easier because the math allows me to do so. This is a squared and this is a squared. So how do I undo a squared? Well, I just take the square root. And if I take the square root of everything on the right, then I can take the square root of everything on the left. So it's going to be the square root of 3.4 is going to be equal to the square root of x squared, which is just x. And then it's going to be the square root of 2 minus x squared, which is just going to be 2 minus x. And there's the square root of 3.4. It looks like it's 1.84. So that is 1.84. 1.84. And at this point, it's just algebra. So 1.84 at 2 gets me 3.68 minus 1.84x is equal to x. So then it looks like 368 is going to be equal to 284x. And then it looks like x is equal to, so 368 divided by 284, x is going to be equal to 1.3. 1.3 or so. Now, here's the last bit of danger. Almost always in math class, you are solving for x, and as soon as you solve for x, then that is your answer, right? No, not necessarily. X is just x. What did the question ask for? The question said, what is the pressure of the hydrogen at equilibrium? Oh, is the pressure of hydrogen at equilibrium equal to x? No, it was 2 minus x. Now, if I'd asked you for this, 1.3 would be the answer. If I ask you for this, 1.3 would be the answer. But I'm not. I'm asking you for this guy over here. So x is actually not the answer. It's got to be 2 minus x because of the way that we set this up. So it's going to be 2 minus 1.3, or it's going to be 0.7 as your answer. That's there.